Imagine a time when giant kangaroos roamed and colossal wombats were a common sight. What if I told you these incredible beasts weren't just part of a forgotten past, but lived on in the oldest continuous culture on Earth? Prepare to uncover how Australia's ancient megafauna became interwoven with the sacred stories of the Aboriginal Dreamtime, a connection that reshaped history. What if the mythical creatures of ancient Aboriginal legends weren't just myths, but vivid memories of real, colossal beasts? How did the prehistoric giants of Australia, like the 3-ton Diprotodon, influence the spiritual tapestry of the land and its people? We're diving deep to reveal the astounding link between Australia's megafauna and the enduring narratives of the Dreamtime. You think you know Australia's history? Think again. For centuries, the true story of how immense creatures shaped the continent's earliest cultures has been hidden in plain sight. Join us as we unearth the remarkable evidence connecting these magnificent megafauna to the very heart of Aboriginal Dreamtime, forever altering your perception of ancient Australia. Imagine a landscape bathed in the golden light of a long-ago afternoon. The air is still and warm. Across a wide, grassy plain, something truly enormous moves. A kangaroo, taller than a person, shifts its weight with a slow, deliberate rhythm. Nearby, a wombat-like creature the size of a small car tears at shrubs with powerful jaws. This is the world of the Diprotodon, a marsupial giant, grazing peacefully. This was Australia tens of thousands of years ago, a continent of giants, the megafauna. These animals were integral to Australia's deep past. They roamed for millions of years, long before humans arrived. The variety was astonishing. Flightless birds far larger than any ostrich, giant lizards rivaling the Komodo dragon, marsupial lions with bone-crushing bites. They were a vivid, thriving ecosystem. Today they are gone. Only fossilized bones remain, silent testimonies, a profound mystery to unravel. Long before scientists assembled the fossil record, another memory formed. The First Nations people of Australia lived on this land. They passed deep knowledge down as stories through generations. These stories form the Dreamtime, not mere myths or fairy tales. To truly grasp the scale of this lost world, we must journey back in time. Australia, during the Pleistocene epoch, the Great Ice Age, was a different place. It was a continent of extremes, periods of greater rainfall, vast woodlands, lush grasslands, periods of intense dryness expanded the deserts. In this dynamic environment, the megafauna thrived. The term megafauna simply means large animals. In Australia, this meant creatures weighing more than 45 kilograms. Many, however, were vastly larger. Their size was a successful adaptation, allowing them to travel great distances between food and water sources and to endure a changing climate. Among the most impressive of these giants was the Diprotodon optatum. Imagine a herbivore, a relative of the wombat, but weighing up to 2.7 tons. It was the largest marsupial known to have ever lived, a lumbering, rhino-sized beast that browsed on shrubs and trees. The predators of this world were equally awe-inspiring. There was the marsupial lion, Thylacoleo carnifex, a hunter the size of a leopard with immensely powerful forelimbs and unique, bolt-cutter-like teeth, perfectly designed for shearing through flesh and bone. On the ground, a giant goanna, Varanus priscus, also known as Megalania, slithered through the undergrowth. This was a true land dragon, a venomous lizard that could grow up to 5 or 6 meters long, making it the top reptilian predator on the continent. These are just a few of the incredible species that populated ancient Australia, each one a marvel of evolution. This world was not an empty wilderness. It was a complex and interconnected ecosystem. The grazing of giant herbivores like Diprotodon would have shaped the vegetation, creating open woodlands and grasslands. Their heavy footfalls would have compacted soils and created wallows, altering the flow of water across the landscape. The presence of huge predators would have influenced the behavior and distribution of other animals. The disappearance of these giants would not just leave a void, it would fundamentally change the entire ecological fabric of the continent. Understanding the world they inhabited is the first step in understanding why they are no longer with us. Many Dreamtime narratives speak of colossal beings shaping the landscape, immense serpents that carved riverbeds, giant animals whose struggles made mountains and valleys, stories filled with wonder and respect for nature's powers. A fascinating question arises. Could these stories hold an echo of lived reality, Could they be ancestral memories of people living alongside megafauna now rediscovered by paleontologists? This invites us to listen with an open mind to two powerful forms of knowledge: modern science and ancient tradition. The question of whether humans and megafauna coexisted is central to this mystery. For decades, it was a subject of intense scientific debate. However, the evidence has grown increasingly compelling. Across Australia, paleontologists have unearthed sites with bones of giant animals in geological layers, indisputably dated to the same period as the earliest human occupation. These discoveries place people and megafauna on the same continent in the same landscapes at the same time for at least 15,000 years and possibly much longer. One of the most remarkable sites is Cuddy Springs, NS Dollars. Here, researchers found stone tools mixed in the same layer with fossilized megafauna bones. Diprotodon genuornis. The presence of tools alongside the bones suggests a direct association. It doesn't definitively prove hunting at that spot, but it shows humans were using the same environment while these giants still lived. It paints a vivid picture of a shared world. This scientific evidence finds a compelling echo in Aboriginal oral traditions. Many First Nations groups have stories placing ancestors in a world of giant creatures. These are not vague legends, but are tied to specific places and specific landscape features. Beyond fossilized bones and oral stories, there is another form of evidence etched into the very fabric of the continent: rock art. Australia is home to one of the world's largest and oldest collections of rock art, with galleries of paintings and engravings found in shelters and on open rock faces from the Kimberley to Tasmania. These artworks provide a remarkable window into the minds of ancient peoples, showing what they saw, what they believed, and what they considered important enough to record in a medium that would last for millennia. Some of these ancient images appear to depict animals that are now extinct. In Arnhem Land and the Kimberley region of Western Australia, there are galleries of ancient paintings. Among the images of familiar animals like kangaroos and fish, there are some that are far more puzzling. Certain paintings seem to show creatures with features that align with what we know about the megafauna. There are depictions of animals that some researchers have interpreted as genuornis, the giant thunderbird, identifiable by its large size and powerful legs. Other images have been tentatively identified as palocestes, a strange marsupial tapir, or even thylacoleo, the marsupial lion. Of course, interpreting rock art is a complex and challenging task. The images are often stylized, and their meaning can be layered and symbolic. An animal might be depicted as large not because of its physical size, but because of its spiritual importance. However, when the physical details in the art, such as the shape of a head, the posture of a tail, or the structure of a foot, closely match the fossil evidence of an extinct species, the possibility of a direct observation becomes very strong. These paintings might be the eyewitness accounts of people who saw these giants with their own eyes. The land itself holds clues. The journeys of Dreamtime creator beings are often traced along specific paths that connect waterholes, rock formations, and other significant sites. These are the songlines or dreaming tracks that crisscross the continent. It is fascinating to note that the distribution of certain megafauna fossil sites sometimes aligns with these ancient pathways. It is plausible that the tracks made by herds of large animals moving between water and food sources created natural corridors across the landscape that were later used by people and incorporated into their own mental and spiritual maps of the land. These traces in rock and earth leave us with a powerful sense of connection to lives lived long ago. The world that the first Australians entered was not a static paradise. It was in the midst of profound transformation. The Pleistocene epoch had dramatic climate cycles: long, cold, dry glacial periods, shorter, warmer, wetter interglacial periods. These climatic shifts had a massive impact on the Australian continent. During arid phases, the deserts expanded, freshwater lakes dried up, vegetation changed from lush woodland to sparse scrubland. For large animals with significant food and water requirements, these changes would have been catastrophic. The scientific community is engaged in a long-standing debate about the primary cause of the megafauna's extinction. One major hypothesis centers on climate change. As the continent became progressively hotter and drier towards the end of the last ice age, around 40,000 to 20,000 years ago, the ecosystems that supported the giant herbivores began to collapse. The plants they relied on became scarce. The permanent water sources they needed vanished. Without a sufficient food base, the populations of large herbivores would have dwindled, which in turn would have led to the decline of their predators. The other leading hypothesis points to the arrival of humans. First Nations people arrived in Australia at least 65,000 years ago. They brought sophisticated hunting technologies and, crucially, the use of fire. This human impact theory suggests that sustained hunting pressure, even at a low level, could have been enough to push species with slow reproductive rates towards extinction. The practice of fire stick farming, deliberate burning of landscapes, promoted the growth of certain plants, made hunting easier, dramatically altered habitats, potentially disadvantaging the megafauna. It is most likely that the truth is not a simple choice between one or the other. A combination of factors probably sealed the fate of the giants. A changing and increasingly arid climate may have already placed megafauna populations under immense stress, making them more vulnerable. The arrival of skilled human hunters and fire users into this already fragile system could have been the final push that sent them over the edge. This complex interplay of environmental pressure and human activity created a perfect storm from which the great beasts of ancient Australia could not recover. How does Dreamtime interpret this period of immense change and loss? While scientific explanations focus on climate data and archaeological evidence, oral traditions approach the disappearance from a different perspective, rooted in law, morality, and the interconnectedness of all things. The stories do not speak of paleoclimatology or extinction coefficients. Instead, they often frame the Great Disappearance as events that disrupted the established order of the world, powerful hunts, or the consequences of breaking sacred laws. Some stories recount epic hunts where ancestral heroes pursued and killed these mighty beasts. These narratives are not just tales of bravado. They often contain complex lessons about respect for animals, the proper way to hunt, and the consequences of greed or hubris. The death of a great creature in a story can signify a profound shift in the world, the end of one era and the beginning of another. The story itself becomes a memorial, preserving the memory of the animal while explaining its absence from the contemporary world. It acknowledges the loss while embedding it within a meaningful cosmic framework. Other traditions explain the absence by saying they did not die out. They did not die out, but instead transformed. A powerful creature might have gone into the ground, its spirit now residing within a particular rock or a waterhole, which then becomes a sacred site. In this view, the animal is not gone, but has simply changed its form, its power and presence still tangible in the landscape. This interpretation reinforces the deep spiritual connection between living people, their ancestors, and the land itself. It is a way of understanding absence not as a void, but as a continuing presence in a different dimension. This narrative approach provides a powerful framework for dealing with change and loss. The world is not a fixed and permanent stage. It is a dynamic place where even the most powerful beings can vanish. These stories teach resilience. They carry warnings about disrupting the natural and spiritual balance of the world. In this way, the memory of the megafauna's disappearance, filtered through millennia of storytelling, becomes a cautionary tale. It is a lesson about sustainability and the responsibility of humans as custodians of the land, a message that holds profound relevance for the environmental challenges we face today. The connection between First Nations people, their stories, and the deep past is not merely a historical curiosity. It is a vibrant, living reality that continues to shape culture, identity, and the management of the land today. For many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities, places where megafauna fossils are found are not just scientific sites. They are sacred ground linked to ancestors and the creator beings of the Dreamtime. The bones are the physical remnants of the beings in those stories. They must be treated with reverence and respect. This living knowledge plays a crucial role in modern land management. Aboriginal rangers, traditional owners, understand fire regimes, water resources, subtle signs of ecosystem health. This is a science born of thousands of years of observation and practice. When a new fossil site is discovered on traditional lands, elders hold the cultural knowledge to understand its significance and ensure culturally appropriate protection. A new model of collaboration is emerging that bridges Western science and indigenous knowledge. Paleontologists, archaeologists are increasingly working in partnership with traditional owners. This collaborative approach enriches the scientific process. Elders guide researchers to culturally significant areas that may also be rich in fossils. Their stories provide a narrative framework to interpret findings. Scientific techniques like carbon dating can validate the great antiquity of oral traditions. This partnership protects Australia's unique heritage. It ensures research is ethical, with full consent and participation of communities. It helps protect sacred sites from damage or unauthorized excavation. It allows a more holistic, complete story to be told, honoring the physical evidence of bones and the enduring spiritual significance of the stories. Museums and research institutions are learning to be respectful partners in preserving this shared history. An elder sharing a story is not just telling a tale, they are transmitting vital information. The narrative might explain the location of a reliable waterhole, the right season to harvest a particular plant, the kinship obligations between different groups, or the moral lessons needed to live in harmony with one's community and environment. The story of Australia's megafauna is a profound journey into deep time. It is a story told in two remarkable languages: the language of science, written in fossils, in sediment layers, the language of culture. Carried in the human voice for thousands of years, the giants themselves may be gone, their immense forms no longer striding across the plains, but their memory endures, preserved in the earth beneath our feet and in the ancient narratives of the continent's first peoples. Both records are precious, both demand our respect and protection. Stand at the edge of a fossil dig. Look upon an ancient rock art gallery. You are in the presence of something truly special. Science can tell us the age of a bone, the diet of an animal, the climate of a bygone era. It offers a breathtaking glimpse into that lost world. The Dreamtime stories offer something different. They tell us what the world meant to its people. They provide moral and spiritual context, a sense of connection that transcends time. To understand the full picture, we must listen to both voices. This is more than an academic exercise. These lessons matter now. Megafauna extinction reminds us how fragile ecosystems can be, how quickly dominant species can disappear under environmental change and new pressures. Dreamtime wisdom emphasizes custodianship, balance, long-term thinking. It offers a model for sustainable living, caring for country, refined over 60,000 years.